Part of New York Governor Eliot Spitzer's argument for giving away driver's licenses to illegal aliens before he withdrew his proposal was that other states were doing the same thing. Governor Spitzer is, of course, now looking in a different direction. 3 out of the 8 states he cited that offered license to illegal aliens have stopped the practice. Bill Tucker reports on states that are quickly retreating on the issue of those driver's license giveaways to illegal aliens.
The retreat is underway by states who grant driver's licenses to illegal aliens. There were 8 states offering illegals a legal document to drive, but now there are 5. Scratch the names of Oregon, Michigan, and Hawaii from the list. Michigan's Attorney General ruling that it would be inconsistent with federal law for the state of Michigan to effectively grant legal status to persons who under federal law are deemed to be unlawfully present. In a ruling issued December 27th, the Attorney General wrote, quote, "Only a resident of Michigan may be issued a Michigan's driver's license. A person who is not a lawful resident of the United States cannot be a resident of this state for purposes of obtaining a driver's license." In his ruling, Attorney General Cox also cited security concerns.
Driver's license is much more than a card that allows you to get an automobile. It allows you to close on a loan and a home. It allows you to get, most importantly, in airports and public transportation.
The state of Oregon, too, is reversing its policy, and as of February 4th, it will no longer issue driver's licenses to illegal aliens. Hawaii insists that it does not give driver's licenses to illegal aliens, saying that it requires all applicants have valid Social Security numbers.
The tide is moving in this country towards stricter, higher standards, and you're going to see the Democratic nominee and the Republican nominee, they are going to understand from the electorate that the American people want this to happen.
In Maine, there have been efforts to reverse the state's policy, but the governor refuses, despite the conviction by the U.S. attorney there of individuals who transported illegal aliens to Maine specifically to get them driver's licenses. That refusal also stands in the face of a recent investigation of active Maine driver's licenses, which found that more than 5,700 driver's licenses have been issued to drivers with the Social Security number 999-99999. And in addition to those, there are another 2,500 driver's licenses issued to people with no Social Security number. Lou, the logic of Michigan has clearly not reached Maine.
Well, knowing the people of Maine, I would have to think it's going to reach there pretty quickly, because this is just about as dumb as it gets.
Well, there are efforts underway to repeal that policy, but it hasn't happened yet.
The good people of Maine putting up with the kind of stupidity that have to be behind this practice, I mean, this completely blows up the entire image of Maine as an independent thinking, right-minded bunch of folks who just don't put up with nonsense. This is utter nonsense.
I mean, so far, the reaction from the leadership in Maine is, well, this is the federal government's problem. They haven't addressed it.
More nonsense.
Yeah, exactly.
This is,
Same
again,
stuff
I don't believe the people of Maine are putting up with this. I mean, what in the world are they doing up there? Are we going to have to send reinforcements up to help our friends in Maine?
We may need to.
All right, Bill, thank you very much. And it's really important and I think wonderful to keep in mind that 3 states moving that quickly to change what had been a tide of stupidity that was starting to grip the country. You know, there's hope for this country if we can just keep our eyes focused on the reality. Minnesota is one of a rising number of states doing just that, fighting back against the impact of illegal immigration. Governor Tim Pawlenty has just issued executive orders trying to root out any state documents, including driver's licenses, that have been obtained through fraud. Wow, what a concept. And Governor Pawlenty is explaining why he had to attack the problem without the help of Minnesota's state legislature.
Good to hang with you, Sweet Lou.
I don't know. All right, this is Governor Pawlenty, right? And it's good to have you
here. Yes, it is.
Yes. The reality is that you've taken action through executive order. Why so?
Well, my legislature refused to act after we made similar proposals a few years ago, and so we went back to the drawing boards and decided we could do some of this through executive order and just did it unilaterally through executive action.
And why take this route rather than through legislative means?
Well, the legislature refused to act, and as you know, we've got a crisis in the country. Our immigration situation is chaotic. It is undermining the rule of law, and it's hurting our economy in many respects and our criminal justice system. So we just couldn't stand by any longer, Lou. We had to take some action.
Now, when the state legislature begins its session, you're going to call for more action to deal with the impact of illegal immigration. And I'd like to put this up for our viewers to see amongst the things you're calling for: to cut funding to sanctuary cities in your state. I understand there are 3 in your state. Strengthen human trafficking laws, and to increase employer sanctions and strengthen penalties for identity theft. You call these common sense measures. Your state legislature, are they going to, do you believe, to the best of your knowledge and understanding, do you believe they're going to support you?
No, their reaction to those proposals was that they're against it and they question my motives or call it political. But if you go down that list, I would suggest to you a majority of Minnesotans and a majority of Americans would say that's the least we can do with respect to combating illegal immigration. My goodness, who's against cracking down on human trafficking and stiffer penalties for that? And who would be against cracking down on identity fraud and theft generally, or as applied to illegal immigration and the like? It just goes to show you how inane the debate has become, where people won't talk about the merits of the issues. They just slap on labels.
And do you think you're going to have sufficient support to sustain the fight against the impact of illegal immigration in your state?
Yes, we can't go as far as we'd like without legislative help, but we'll go as far as we can through executive action, and we'll keep promoting this, and eventually the people of Minnesota will demand action from the legislature, Lou. So we'll make some progress, and we have in the past too.
All right, Governor. I have to say I haven't been taken aback too often with being greeted with Sweet Lou and hanging with you. Took me there. I appreciate it, Governor.
You're welcome.
Up next, Senator Hillary Clinton says, get ready, she says no woman is illegal, whatever in the heck that means. I'll be talking with 3 of the best political minds in the country about that curious remark and a great deal more that is curious about this presidential election and its campaign. Now the Supreme Court could affect the election this year. We'll hear from